pop goes the champagne on a heartbreaking night on the south side of Philadelphia. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the League Championship Series advancing edition of Dodgers Latest here on the YouTube channel. I'm Jim Rodriguez. You can always hit me up right there, X and on Instagram at JRodShow. Follow me, I'll follow you. I love all the comments. And of course, right here on our YouTube page, the subscriber count keeps rising. That's thanks to you. Love that you're part of the community. Continue to like, share, subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button as we get ready for a League Championship Series, which has become a vibe now, right? The Dave Roberts era began in 2016, so this is 10 years, and this will be the seventh trip to the League Championship Series for Dave Roberts' Dodgers, and hopefully a fifth trip to the World Series. All right, yeah. Dodgers beat the Phillies 2-1. Heartbreaker on the south side of Philadelphia, the way they lost it on a walk-off error. And for the Dodgers, just another thing to add to the glory and the lore of Dodger Stadium playoff games. Yeah, it was the 11th walk-off win for the Dodgers in the postseason. 11 times they've walked off an opponent in a playoff game, and it's the third time that they've walked off an opponent to advance to the next round. Well, remember 1978, the League Championship Series. Bill Russell got a walk-off single off Tug McGraw and beat the Phillies in extra innings to clinch the pennant, send the Dodgers to the World Series. In 2021, our buddy Chris Taylor hit a walk-off homer against the Cardinals in the wild card game. Remember, it was a one-game wild card game. That was a bottom-of-the-ninth winner that beat the Cardinals, send the Dodgers on to the League Division Series. And, of course, now in 2025, Andy Pages' comebacker that Orion Kerkering just panicked. Threw home, had plenty of time, didn't have to throw home with the bases loaded, but he threw home, threw it over JT Realmuto's head. In came Ha-Seong Kim, and the Dodgers are on their way to the League Championship Series. Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's so many, 11 innings, there are so many moments in this game. But first of all, we talked about Tanner Scott yesterday. He's going to miss the League Championship Series. He had a procedure done on an abscess on the lower part of his body. Hope he is feeling well and hope he is doing better. He will not be available in the League Championship Series. And we talked about the humanity of it, and that's what we got to talk about. Orion Kerkering, 24 years old, Southern California kid, was born in Huntington Beach. And listen, at the end of the day, I just think he panicked. Bases loaded, tie game, Dodger Stadium crowd coming down on top of you. And Andy Pages, I think he broke his bat, right? He hit a comebacker, and the minute that Kerkering fumbled the ball, couldn't pick it up, that's where he panicked. And then I'll always, that image of JT Realmuto standing in front of home plate, pointing to first base. And for some reason, in the panic, everything sped up on Kerkering. He threw home, and he made a bad throw. And I don't think even if he had thrown home, he would have gotten Ha-Seong Kim, who came in as a pinch runner and was already leading off from third base and was maybe 5 feet from home plate by that time. But you notice that Kim missed home plate, and he had to go back real subtly and quietly and come back and touch home plate as the Dodgers celebrated the win. And they needed it, because I'll tell you what, the Dodgers won this series on pure guile, and maybe 2 or 3 guys really helped him out, because, we always talked about how Ohtani struggled mightily in this series, right? He was 1 for 18 in the series, just non-competitive at bats. Andy Pages, he went 0 for 5 in this game. He's 1 for 17 in the postseason. That's 0-42. Even Freddie Freeman hasn't been exempt from this. He's barely hitting over the Mendoza line at 217. So, the big guys, have not been there. It's been Teoscar Hernandez. It's been Mookie Betts, who are mainstays, but even Alex Call has been more of a contributor on a part-time basis. But it was good to see Andy Pages in a situation where, yes, he made an out, but it was something positive, right? He has been struggling defensively, running the bases, and now, an 0 for 5 night, has 1 for 17 in the Reds and Phillies series. So it was good to see him involved in a quality play that helped the Dodgers win the game. And I'll tell you what, it's only the second time in MLB postseason history that an error ended a series. 2016 was the last time a Josh Donaldson error ended the 2016 series, and now the Orion Kerkering error sends the Dodgers to the league championship series. And so much to sort of take in from this game. First of all, Tyler Glasnow, right? Brilliant. 6 shutout innings. The concerning part for me, Dave Roberts, everybody was talking about Dave Roberts. How could you take him out? Well, he was cramping, was Tyler Glasnow, something that's happened multiple times with him. He only made 83 pitches, pitched absolute brilliant, right? 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, 83 pitches, 6 scoreless, but he came out because of cramps. And then Emmett Sheehan comes in, makes the error that leads to the Phillies' run. Dodgers get the run right back thanks to a great, as gutsy an at-bat as you can get from Mookie Betts drawing a bases-loaded walk from Yohan Duran to tie the game at 1. And then the guy that everyone's been talking about, man, the guy who has been, the division series and certainly doesn't have an MVP like the National League Championship Series does, but man, Roki Sasaki, my goodness, the Dodgers have found a diamond in the rough, a phoenix rising from the ashes. I mean, we thought he might have been done. His career mentally was shot. Him kind of in tears in the dugout during the Japan series against the Cubs. Then he hurts his shoulder. We thought he wasn't even going to appear in any of these games, and he has been absolutely lights out. 5 1/3 scoreless innings in the playoffs. That's the Reds and Philly series combined. 2 saves. Just staggering number. A whip of 0.19. Batting average against of 0.59. And just unhittable. And last night, the Dodgers, kind of had the ace up their sleeve in that because Sasaki is a starter who they used as an emergency closer, was able to pitch 3 shutout innings in this game, give the Dodgers some length, made 36 pitches, and then the Dodgers are rewarded now because the League Championship Series doesn't start till Monday. So everybody gets a little bit of a break in terms of the bullpen. The hitters go back, relax. I'm sure today is kind of like a little hydrating day, if you know what I'm talking about, after a wild celebration last night. LCS doesn't start till Monday, and it'll either be, the Dodgers will either go to Milwaukee to start Game 1, or Game 1 will be at Dodger Stadium if the Cubs are the opposition. We know that the Cubs and Brewers, they're going to a winner-take-all 5th game, and that's going to be Saturday in Milwaukee. So the Brewers will either stay, host the Dodgers, or the Cubs will then turn around and fly from Milwaukee to LA and start the National League Championship Series on Monday. And we'll get into that, once we know who the opponent is on Monday. But for the Dodgers, they have LCS history with both the Cubs and the Brewers. It would be the 3rd League Championship Series between the Cubs and the Dodgers. They played back-to-back LCSs in 16 and 17, and the Dodgers beat the Brewers in the 2018 LCS, winning Game 7 in Milwaukee. So there's history there. We'll break into that as well. But the Dodgers trying to get off the floor with the Otanis and the Pajeses and the Freemans, and meanwhile Sasaki soaring as he, all of a sudden that Dodger bullpen, 5 innings, 1 run, that's going to help the cause a little bit. And so what do you do moving forward in terms of constructing a roster? That's something that's going to be really interesting in terms of, they have some time off, which is great, but then what do you do? What do you do with your starters, and here's something that kind of I've thought about as we got some rotation ideas. The League Championship Series doesn't start till Monday. So do you not have Ohtani pitch Game 1? Remember, Ohtani was scheduled to pitch Saturday. That would have been the winner-take-all Game 5 in Philadelphia. Not that he pitched poorly in his 1 start against the Phillies in Game 1, pitched great. But if you bring him into the rotation on Monday, that pushes everybody back. So my thought would be, why not start Game 1, regardless of who you play, with Blake Snell? It's on Monday. He would be pitching on exactly 7 days rest. Game 2 would be Yamamoto, and he would be pitching on 6 days rest. Then you would start Ohtani on a Thursday. Okay, that would be a week from yesterday. That would be Game 3, either in Milwaukee or either at Dodger Stadium or at Wrigley Field. Problem is, that would mean Otani will go 12 days without pitching. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, considering that, he's coming off an arm injury. This whole year has been a build-up process. Maybe you give him a little chance to catch his breath. Maybe it'll help the hitting. I don't know. I can't tell you that the pitching has affected the hitting. It's never had it in the past. Why would it now? I just think he's just taking non-competitive at-bats. So then game 4 of the LCS would be a week from today, the 17th. That could be a Tyler Glasnow start. And then he would only have gone 8 days without pitching. So it keeps Snell, Yamamoto, and Glasnow on a sort of 6 to 7 days between starts, and only Otani would have to, absorb not pitching for 12 days. But again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Considering the hitting has been so lacking, and you think to yourself, well, what if you had one or the other? Would you rather have a great Otani pitching, or would you rather have great Otani hitting? I think we all want great Otani hitting. So that's something to think about, what the Dodgers will do, how they will maneuver the starting rotation. They could start Otani game 1, and I don't think they'd have any problems with that. But just that's something I would do. Plus, if it's the Brewers, they struggle against left-handed pitchers. Blake Snell has been an absolute ace this year. Just something to think about as the Dodgers have a couple of days before they get started. And see what the Cubs and Brewers do on Saturday. And Dodgers are kind of in limbo, right? Because, again, they'd have to fly to Milwaukee. So my guess is they will probably meet as a team at Dodger Stadium on Saturday, maybe have a workout, and then as a team, as a group, watch the game. And if the Brewers win, boom, head to the airport, fly to Milwaukee. And then you get ready for your Sunday workout, meet the media, and then play Monday. And then you're still having that sort of watch party, players at the stadium on Saturday. And if the Cubs win, well, everybody goes back home. You don't have to fly. The Cubs have to come to L.A. You do your Sunday workout, and then Monday would be game 1 at Dodger Stadium against the Cubs. That's sort of what I think the Dodgers will be doing in terms of workouts, meetings, as they get ready for the start of the LCS on Monday. By the way, the Blue Jays are in. They're waiting. The American League side of things starts Sunday. Today, they will know who their opponent, as the Tigers and the Mariners are playing in Seattle. That'll be a deciding Game 5. Tarek Skubal on the mound for the Tigers. That should be fun watching as well. All right, we always say, hey, be part of the show. Tell us what you're thinking. You're a big part of this. You're the reason why we do this. You're the reason why we're growing. So let's get into what everybody's saying, all right? First of all, let's talk about Yamamoto. We talked about how great he was during the regular season. Come on, is this unfair a little bit? Not confident with Yamamoto in big games anymore. He gives it up. Otani needs to be moved out of the leadoff spot. That's an interesting situation. Do you move Otani out of the leadoff spot? He strikes out too much. You know what? I think what it is, more than anything else with Otani, which is striking to me, is no patience up there, trying to hit a 700-foot home run every time, and just non-competitive at bats. They've been busting him inside. And, he has that sort of get underneath it, try to, air the ball out of the stadium, that uppercut swing. And then they throw that little change up, those little floaters away. And he either swings and misses badly, or they've made some great pitches like they did last night. And they hit the black and they strike him out looking. So I think, for me, I want to see more competitive at-bats. I don't think you change anything. This is how you got to the League Championship Series. You stay with it. Otani's too good of a player. I think he'll figure it out. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's just, trying too hard. I think he's pressing. And I think when you had nothing but success your whole life and you're not having success, how do you get out of that? This is where, who talks to him? Does he have internal people? Does he have Dodger coaches? Does he take extra batting practice? Because, again, these numbers are very non-Otani. 0-56 in the division series, 1 for 18. And to me, it's one thing if you're hitting ground balls or you're hitting line drives. These are just bad, non-competitive at-bats, and that's got to change. All right, back to the community. In terms of Yamamoto, listen, he had one bad start. I mean, I think we got to pump the brakes on that. The guy's been as good a pitcher. He's probably going to be the one of the runner-ups to win the Cy Young this year. He's going to definitely be a finalist. With Paul Skeens is going to win it. Probably Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies and Yamamoto. I think the Phillies kind of figured him out, and we'll see how he reacts to his first start in the league championship series. Because I think same thing would happen with Tyler Glasnow a little bit is they rely on you chasing bad pitches. If you don't chase bad pitches, then they have to come after you. And I think that's where the Phillies had some success against Yamamoto in that series. We'll see what the adjustments are going to make. So Dave Roberts, we talked about the Dave Roberts era. This is his 7th league championship series in 10 seasons as Dodger manager. That is wild. 7 trips to the league championship series in 10 seasons, and he's trying to get to the World Series for the 5th time, and he's trying to win the World Series for a 3rd time. Remember, 17, 18, 20, 24, and now trying to be in 25. So you guys get on me, but that statue of Dave Roberts, man, come on. So let's see what the community's got to say. Hey, sometimes Roberts' decisions make you scratch your head, but overall, I trust him. Well, listen, at the end of the day, how can you not? I mean, the guy's a winner. Yeah, I think there's sort of a love affair with Kershaw that was, bringing him in relief. Seems every time we see Clayton Kershaw in relief at Dodger Stadium, bad things happen. But I think for the most part, how can you argue with 5 NLCS appearances, trying to win the pennant for trying to win a 4th pennant, trying to win a 3rd World Series? Come on, my friends. It's not something that you can shake a stick at. Criticism is part of the game. He understands it. And an interesting thing I read the other day is that he may think about calling it quits after 2029. So, devil you know is better than the devil that you don't know. And, of course, we want to know what you've got to say. J-Rod Show, X and Instagram, that's where you can reach me. And, of course, right here at Dodgers Latest. We'll be back Monday. We'll have an opponent. We'll have the rotation. Love to hear what you have to say about my thoughts on who should be starting and how the rotation should be. Enjoy it, everybody. Let's breathe. Let's reset. And let's get ready for League Championship Series baseball starting Monday. It's either at Milwaukee or against the Cubs at Dodger Stadium. I'm Jim Rodriguez. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the playoffs. And remember, it's always time for Dodger baseball.